Welcome. It's a full moon. We're in a full moon space. It's full moon in Scorpio. You know what that means. If you join me, if you join me for the Tuesday astrological show, which we are doing on Wednesday this week because Matt is doing paranormal excursions and family excursions in Disney. And so yeah, until we get paid like lots of money, we work with our schedules. But I digress. That you know what that means? Scorpio is a water sign, guys. People always think it's a fire sign because you think desert. You think, Aladdin maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what you're thinking. But the decks that we are going to be using tonight, if you did not catch the description, Mystical Medleys. I love this deck. I have truly fallen in love with this deck. I love the imagery, the animation, the graphics, whatever words we need to be using correctly. I'm not sure how it's done. And then to give this kind of completion, this full cycle, because that's really a lot of what the eclipse cycle is going to be about. And we're between these eclipses, right? And it just closed yesterday. A lot of emotions, full cycles, changes, life transformations, decisions, crossroads, death, birth, babies, diagnoses, awareness, choices, feelings, heaviness. And when I was in the beginning of that cycle, the very beginning, I was in Kansas City. We were in a tornado. The flower essence deck is what I picked up when I went to the Oracle Casey, the shop in downtown Kansas City. It's darling. I was there meeting a designer, a jewelry designer I have been following online for a few years now, and I love her work. I wanted to buy a piece in person, so we got to collaborate there at the Oracle Casey shop. Her rattlebone design. Rattlebone design. So yeah, Paz says, I like your skull icon. Thank you. That's something I did. I'm just shuffling these decks right now. I'm just kind of getting a feel for it. Got our coffee. Do you have your coffee? Where are you at? As we give people a few moments to log on. Hi, Rocco. Hi, Mary Beth. Hey, Samantha. Katie. I hope you stay awake for it. Someone said, I hope I can stay awake. So what I'm going to do, guys, is with divination, if you're joining me for the very first time, you can learn more about me at paranormalsarah.com. I do need to renew my website. I've gotten the email, where they're like, you need to renew your thing. That's like hundreds of dollars. So I'm kind of not doing that. So if it doesn't work, it might be because it's that time. I pay it like every 5 years and then I kind of forget. It sneaks up on you. But anyway, you can find me at paranormalsarah.com. And I'm an author. I wrote Haunted by the Abyss by Llewellyn, published by Llewellyn, and then the Quantum Parapsychology, my second book. I've got a few books coming out, hopefully this year, maybe next year, depending on how things go. Some family stuff popped up that I wasn't necessarily planning for, but that's okay. That's what happens in a pandemic. And I have my master's in forensic psych. So Monday through Friday, I work as a forensic counselor, and I do specialize in psychopathy and heinous crime. And I love to advocate for people wanting to make themselves better. I do a lot of end-of-life non-denominational consults for people who may or may not be Christian. And I love divination. It's a big part of what I remember in the fun parts of my childhood, connecting with others, going to psychic fairs with my mom and my sister, and being able to use science, probability, psychology to profile and understand further psychology, people, and help them make decisions and facilitate a discussion to make their lives better. That's what divination is all about. So I've got this oracle deck here. Oracle decks can be any number of topics, themes, number of cards, but a tarot deck, this is related to the 22 pathways, the Kabbalah, the Tree of Life, the Yggdrasil. This is related to cartomancy, a regular deck of playing cards, alchemy, earth, water, air, fire, the basis structure for almost all popular religions. It's very fun. And it's why I don't need a book. And you don't either. And we can talk about that. I'll be doing more workshops with my very good friend Matt, who helps me do astrology and alchemy next month. But I do need your permission. So Pepper, Sarah does thoughtful and direct readings. I had a Friday the 13th reading. It was amazing. Oh, yay. I'm actually going to be doing lunar eclipse readings tonight. I'm trying to decide kind of how much I should do those for, because for the Friday the 13th, they were 13, right? For the lunar eclipse, man, I was thinking maybe we do it for, $16. I don't know, because it's the 16th, or do we do, I don't know. We'll come up with something. But anyway, I need your permission. And these are free readings. I want to pull from my tarot and my card, and we're going to see what we get. We're going to pull it up. We're going to kind of bring it full circle, and we're going to see how we use a tarot and an oracle together. If you are working on sharpening your intuition, just because it's not a reading I'm pulling for you doesn't mean you can't take a moment to learn from the cards, see what the numbers and the visuals are telling us, see how you connect in the divine synchronicity of just joining us right now, but also to take that moment right before we do a reading and I turn the cards around that you, I wonder what it could be. Like you get to check your own intuition. So let us start with Rocco. Rocco, I see your name there at the top of the chat, and it's moving very quickly between 4 or 5 different locations. So just continue to ask. I'm not necessarily pulling favorites, but we are going in order that I see you. So Rocco Lorusso, Rocco Lorusso. Think about that question. Think about what you're framing in your mind. Think about what you're asking about. This is an essence of a flower. So think of a flower. What blossom is coming to mind? What colors? What are you framing? What are you asking about, Rocco? And this is a tarot card. What are you getting? Rocco, the Four of Wands. The Four of Wands for stability, for the structure, earth, water, air, fire, the beginning, domestic. Now we're married. Now let's do this. Marriage. Or first comes love, then comes marriage, then comes the baby and the baby carriage. It's like the mile markers of life that are very pivotal, and that this is in wands. So as you can see here, we're like dancing under the pillars, and now we're going to go home, and everyone's all happy, and it's like a May celebration. Wands is action. It's that you're doing something. It's that you are getting ready to engage in something. It's technically, if I'm kind of like looking at the fire space, you're kind of moving up Sagittarius, not quite into Leo, because you're cutting it into thirds. The Four of Wands. This is going to be a family decision that affects everybody. So keep that in mind. And it's going to be coupled with patterns of balance shown in garlic. This is beautiful. I really actually love the garlic blossom. They are purple. Usually they look like a huge bluish purple firecracker. They're tall. They stand alone on a big, big stalk. Usually is like, hip high. Can be 2 feet high even. They're very, very powerful stalk. And they're beautiful. You wouldn't know that it was garlic if you didn't pluck it from or by the root and see underneath. But this says this is an unitive consciousness, a sense of wholeness, which imparts strength and a very active resilience. Fearful, weak, or easily influenced and prone to low vitality if you're watching your patterns of imbalance. So immunity check, garlic, right? We associate them with vampires. The preventative care. If you put it in your food, you're eating high levels of garlic, it'll deter parasites, bugs, and even ticks when you're out hunting for mushrooms, because you will literally like sweat it out of your pores, and it deters things like that. So it's kind of cool to see how these are coming together. You've got the garlic showing itself and the Four of Wands. So to give you an idea of what these readings tonight are going to look like, Mary Beth, I really don't have any questions, I guess. I'm just pondering. Well, Mary Beth, let us ponder these 2 cards. Ooh, this is a card I've been pulling for myself lately. And this is a card that I pulled for a friend recently. So I've seen these cards just in the last 24 hours for myself. What is it? What do you think it is? Mary Beth. That. Boom. Major life, major arcana card, the Star. When you wish upon a star, make makes no difference, Mary Beth. It doesn't. Who you are, unless you're not in the hemisphere or the clouds and you can't see it, then it kind of. Anyway, the point is, the star is very much that metaphorical space where you're pouring everything out. You're wishing on the very, you know, it's kind of a last hope, the never-ending story, the grain of sand. And very much like this, pouring it all out. Well, hope it's not poison. I hope it's not the last bit of water I need to live, whatever, I guess. Little dodo bird on the mountaintop up there, kind of a little nod to like, that might be really fucking stupid. But it's hopeful. It's optimistic. Sometimes you just have to be that. You've had enough and you just pour everything out. And it's being coupled with the Calla Lily. So if we have any florists here, we have any people that are herbalists, people that love their flowers, people that like to go look at the flowers outside. Patterns of balance, clarity about sexual identity. Ooh, some of that Venus. Sexual self-acceptance, loving yourself, loving your body, balance of masculine and feminine qualities. And that the imbalance would be some confusion or ambivalence about that sexual identity and how to feel sexy in your space. The star. This is kind of an interesting space when you put them together, right? A hopefulness, a awareness and sensuality to life associated with your identity. It's very powerful. Balance, deep balance. Very, very important. I love the Calla Lily. I'm excited to see how this will show itself for you in your life, how it might be relevant to you. And then look at that star. I love the star. Very cool. So, Pepper, thank you. And thank you for joining us, Rocco. So in mine, I'm doing the best for my love while dealing with people in control of me. And at night, it has played a huge part for me. So thank you so much. You are very welcome. And thank you for joining me. Don't forget, if you are interested in learning more or getting private readings or workshops or anything like that, please check out paranormalsarah.com or join us this Wednesday on Astrology and Alchemy, kind of in the same place you're finding me now. You'll probably find me there, and sign up for notifications. It's free. It's free. It's free. And then you can do that. But you could also take part in the reading special that I'm going to have tonight for the full moon, man. It's full moon in Scorpio. So let's get saucy. Pepper says, man, I love those shoes on the star. I know. Isn't she darling? They match her outfit. They're yellow on yellow. She's darling. She's super cute. Anyway, Paz. P-A-Z, Paz. Sarah, you have my permission to read me. Boom. Dang! This is, Paz, take that moment. Think about that question. And for Samantha and Meta, I have seen you. Don't let me forget you. And I am going to pull a card for you. Just don't let me forget and start framing those questions, okay? Rocco, definitely join us. Okay, Paz, here we go. Man, what was that question? For those of you using your intuition, what are you seeing? What blossom are you feeling? What card are you sensing? I love this card. We even mentioned a little nod to this. Ooh, bad moon. I got that song playing in my head. I've got a lot of music playing in my head today. This is the moon. So in a major arcana space, the moon, man, it's a lot of feelings. And what a better card to pull than on a full moon, just like this right now. And the moon, the man made of cheese here, kind of rocking out. Rah, rah, rah. And he's between the two pillars, like you're going to definitely be judged. And it's like crazy and delusional. And you've got the dog and he's dancing with the wolf and the wolf is howling and he's, everyone's rocking out and it's kind of crazy. And then even the crawdad in the pond is like having a moment. And he's like, yeah, man, everyone's really just engaged. They're feeling it, right? Oh, yeah. You can just see him right now, right? Yeah. That's exactly what the moon is about. It's about a tidal wave of energy, of water, of emotion, of feelings, a riptide, a pull, a current that, what the fuck is that? What? Like you are not going to be able to overpower it. You're just not. You can't. It's predictable. You can watch the frogs come and go. You can see what the tide does, but you can't fight it. You can't fight it. So you have to be able to predict it. You have to be able to watch it. You have to be able to move with it like a surfer, always knowing that there's risk, there's reward, there's influence in and by the moon in a very, very, very deep, deep way about emotions. This is perfect for Scorpio right now for the full moon. And the oracle card from the Flower Essences deck, the Trillium. Not terribly familiar with that flower. Let me know if you're an herbalist here joining us, a florist, a botanist, if you will. The Trillium flower. The Trillium flower. Man, let me read that thing. Greed and lust. Woo! For what crazy eyes you have, Grandma. For processions and power, excessive ambition, to overcome those personal needs and desires with materialism and congestion. But also a selfless service and altruistic sacrifice of your personal duties, of the common good, and that inner purity of who you really are. Truth of who you really are, self-sacrifice, self-service, doing things you may not want to do. I can't help it, I'm a werewolf. But it is greed, it is lust, it is a thing, a pull, a deep carnal pull. Interesting. All very different. Cards very different. So I'm excited about this. Samantha. This made my day. I would love to ask if you could do one for my love. Her name is Ruby. Remind me, Rocco. I will. This is for Samantha. I'm going to try my best to remember everyone as we go. They would make a great tattoo in every single one of these. Often tarot decks have great artists. I like to see how they interpret the tarot, because all the tarot decks should mean the same thing. They all do mean the same thing. They're very relative to sacred geometry and numbers. Samantha. Oh. Okay. Wow. Okay. Wow. I have not seen this card yet. I've not pulled this card from this deck yet. I really like how they've illustrated it. So you have the two pillars here that you see in like the sacred initiation space, the J and the B, walking through these two pillars. Ancient alchemy, Egyptian, like Isis, Anubis type spaces. Okay. The pomegranate, the artichoke top. But the all-seeing eye sitting on the mushroom with keys. Well, here, let me just show you. Samantha, the Hierophant. This is a space of who is guarding the information? Who is gatekeeping the knowledge? What is sacred? Who's got the sacred sea scrolls? Do you know what I mean? How in the world? How in the world? It may not be worldly. It may not be physical in nature. It may not be empirical. And what information is it? It's very spiritual in nature too. So this is just, look at, I love how they've illustrated it. Steph, I sent you PayPal $13 on Friday the 13th, but I don't know how to contact you for the reading. Steph, if I didn't send it to your email or I didn't send it to your Facebook, I will double check because I sent them out on the 13th and 14th if you sent me via PayPal. So if you didn't get anything in your email, then now it's going to be outdated. So I'll send you what I get done tonight for this. No worries. I got you. So I forgot what you said on Friday. I was a bit out of it. I sent it in an email additionally. So just double check. And if you don't see it, it's kind of a big file. So you may have to get permission from my Gmail. Let me know. Samantha, holder of the keys. Who's the keeper of the keeper? Who's the gatekeeper? I am the key master. This is very cool. And I want to share with you the shooting star. This is coming through on that oracle space. Don't mind my nails. I was out gardening today. The Virgo in me just dies. Patterns of balance are the humanized spirituality, cosmic consciousness warmed with a caring for that is all human. It's all earthly. Interesting. The patterns of imbalance would be that profound feeling of alienation, loneliness, for not feeling at home on earth anymore, not a part of a human family. The shooting star, the spiritual, the physical, the uncertainty. I'm going to say uncertainty because it's knowing without knowing. It's a knowing. It's a really interesting space. Very powerful. Both of these cards speaking very well together, I think, too. This is going to be a lot of meditation. This is going to be a lot of grounding. This is going to be just a lot of, Atreyu, like just knowing self, trusting self, knowing, trusting to know, to predict. Very, very cool. So there you go. Samantha, hope that finds you well. So now I've got Meta and then Ruby. And let me know if that is correct. And you guys, if you want a free reading, just let me know. Just give me permission there in the chat. And it's so good to see you guys, Steph, John, Rocco, Maddie, Paz. You're very welcome, Samantha. Oh, she said I asked what would help with my anxiety. Perfect. No, that makes perfect sense then. So grounding, self-reliance, validation, and the things around you, measuring things you can touch, and sensuality with your senses. Okay. Meta. Ooh. Oh, Meta. Wow. Okay, Meta. And by the way, I don't know if you've gotten your bracelet yet. I put them in the mail on Friday the 13th. But I also am married to the postman, so I know that they're like short-staffed by like 12 or 15 or 20 people. And so I'm just trusting, as Samantha is, the universe on that. But this would make perfect sense because, I mean, it's kind of freaky, actually. What card is it? If you guys are testing your intuition. A lot of major arcana cards. Meta, the world. Boop, boop, be-doop, boop, boop. Look at her. The world. You've got the little Illuminati triangles, the little awareness, the alchemy symbols for the 4 elements, the wreath. Think of Caesar going around. I love her imagery. The world. As the world turns. And in many ways, that's what it is. In a real big way, because it's a major arcana card. What does the world do? It has its seasons. What does the world do? Kind of the same thing over and over and over again. It is a symbiotic thing. It is a living organism. And in that way, it is predictable because it's going to feed, it's going to heave, it's going to breathe in, it's going to breathe out. There's going to be a polarity, there's going to be a release. There's going to be certain things that abide by the laws of nature, physics, and things that we can predict to a certain extent. Things that we can buy at our darn supermarket in the almanac. The world. It's so big and yet so small. And look at, she's got her DNA in her bandana, her sash with her magic wand there, crisscrossing. Choice, destiny, fate, the on top of the world. Ah! There are ups and downs. That is how it is. That is the way of the world. Determine with your perspective where you are. And how perfect to go with it, the oracle card, is the lotus. Ah! The lotus, which is usually a symbol in sacred geometry. It's kind of shown as the world, as we are connected. This beautiful blossom, an openness and expansive spirituality, a meditative insight and synthesis to the great. Spiritual pride. Be aware of an inflated spirituality. Moderation, moderation. The lotus. A lot of those out there kind of on the lily pads right now, just really cool looking. Floating blossoms. I like how this goes with the world. They're both going to be very circular, cyclical, connected, symbiotic, give take, push, pull, connected in that way to spirit and body and that connection there. So Meta, I hope that finds you well, and I hope that that is exactly what you were framing as you were thinking of the question before we pulled cards, because divination, information from the divine, that's what it's about. That's how you do it. Kind of formulate the question and then pull. So that you're not like, well, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense. I don't know how that makes, I don't know, like, what is it talking about? You don't have to worry about it because you asked a very specific question. The more specific your question, the more specific your answer. Nicole. Nicole, I love that. Yes. Ruby. I think it was Ruby. 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 Ooh. Think about it. What card is it? Queen of Pentacles. Not a major life arcana card. Not major, but the Queen of Pentacles is that female matriarch. She's the mom, she's the grandma, she's the woman, she's the queen. She knows what's up. She knows and she feels. She is earth and she is water. But the Queen of Pentacles specifically is the Queen of Earth. So this is going to be that Virgo, Taurus, what's the other one? Capricorn energy. Knowing, Archangel Uriel, being silent, thinking, the intention, the mustard seed. This is the awareness. This is knowing the ass, knowing the energy, knowing the seasons, paying attention to the female mothers, matriarchs, flowers, blossoms of creation, the intentions. And it goes with the flower, St. John's wort. Oh, we use this if we are women, can use this in their reproductive cycle and in their hormone cycle. It can take the place of progesterone type things and ways of balancing your hormones. You can couple it with raspberry leaf tea and help before and after pregnancy spaces or menstrual spaces. And it can ease cramps and mood swings if you have irregular hormone sugar cycles. St. John's wort, as a tea or as a pill or even as a tincture. St. John's wort, kind of a whitish blossom. Patterns of balance, illuminated consciousness, and a light-filled awareness of your inner strength and your core. The patterns of imbalance, though, would be that you might be overly expanded in a state leading to psychic or physical vulnerabilities, having deep anxious fears and disturbed dreams because you're so deeply connected and empathetic that that vibration, it's like shaking a spider web's main thing to, tell it that there's food. It starts having this, shake. It's a deep connection to something and a concern or a need to know why and what and how to respond accordingly, like an adrenal response. So kind of cool that these are connected. You kind of see the female theme. You see that connective, empathetic theme. Love it. So thank you so much for giving me permission. Don't forget, if you're not interested in getting a personal reading or just kind of learning, maybe signing up for a workshop, joining Matt and I for our astrology and alchemy, you can always just share this or tag a friend that might be interested. That is always very helpful as well, and I appreciate it. So thank you very much for joining us. Paz, hello. If you want a reading, just ask. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. And I hope that you will continue to join me. Just sign up for notifications. Sarah, did you get a new tattoo on your left hand? These on every full moon or new moon, a big part of the ritual is to do in some way some marking of the space. And a lot of times I'll do temporary tattoos or henna or like staining, things like that. And so I did a bunch of kind of tattoos that I'm thinking I want to get, but I may or may not be able to get because working in law enforcement and military and things like that, you can't always have hand tattoos. So I have to be very careful. But good eye. Thank you for noticing. Crystal, I want to pull a card for you. You asked. I do remember. I haven't forgotten. So Crystal. Ooh. Oh, okay. I just recently learned about this plant, so this is kind of fun. And the Wheel of Fortune. That's a big card. Talking about the major life arcana, I love the art on this card. You've got your wheel. Look at it. It's a sigil wheel. Look out. The Wheel of Fortune. Come on down. You've got these like characters chilling out. You got your Sphinx character. You've got your snake. You've got the wolf. You've got kind of this idea that maybe you are taking some risk. The Wheel of Fortune is that you're going to be gambling a little bit, but in a big life way. And it really is, what are you waiting for? Who's pulling the wheel? Who's it for? What, are you going to wait till it stops? You're going to pull again? How many times are you going to pull it? You can choose not to pull it. You can choose not to play the game. You can do it 500 times, maybe. Fortune favors the bold, right? Name that movie, 20,000 bonus points. Get that character. It's tattooed on their back. And this is what that is about. If you can understand the probability, the lack of control one has, it can only be of self. With the Wheel of Fortune, this is really, really powerful. And it's coupled with what I love. I will be honest, because if you're an alchemist, you do hermetic magic type stuff like myself. This is the goldenrod. So this is a plant that I see a lot whenever I am driving down 35, if I'm going north, south, down the middle of the country here in the United States of America. It looks like a weed. It is a weed. I mean, who even uses this, right? Well, a lot of people, herbalists, natives, people who live off the land, if you have urinary tract issues, kidney issues, if you're trying to keep your kidneys clean, if you are trying to refresh a hangover, you have prostate issues, kidney stones, high calcium buildup, or phosphate issues, regulation of those particular toxins or potassium in your diet, goldenrod. I wonder why we would call it goldenrod. Penile and erectile health, rod. It's strong like a rod, it's tall and erect like a rod, and it's yellow. Its blossoms are big and yellow and bushy, and it has this big flowering thing at the base. When it grows to its full maturity, it's like almost 4 or 5 feet tall. And you can pluck this and enjoy it as a tea and tincture as well. And goldenrod will help with a lot of male and penile and urine, golden flow, golden shower things. That's what the goldenrod plant is about. So check that out if you're interested in learning more about that cool stuff. And this plant in the oracle deck here says it's a well-developed individuality, the inner sense of self balanced with groups of social consciousness, easily influenced, being aware of that group or family ties, the attachments that you have, the inability to be true to oneself, subject to peer pressure and social expectations, stigmas, taboos, things like that. Very, very, very powerful. The world, as the world turns. It is kind of a drama. It is a theater. So much of it is the audience and the momentum and a give and take of those around you, the systems that you are in. Be aware of them. Use them in a healthy way. See how they may be relating in your life. So there you go. Crystal clear. Hope that makes sense. Pepper. I know, right? Who is the artist that did these cards? I will show you. For Katie and Sebastian. The Mystical Medleys Vintage Tarot by Sterling Ethos. Gary Hall. Gary Hall is the artist. And I can tell you, I've used this deck now for about a month. I've done probably 10 to 15 readings with it. I love every card that I get through it. And, I don't need to use the guidebook, right? Because it is based on numerology and alchemy. And once you kind of get it, you get it. However, I do like to see if or how artists, put in a guidebook what they put. This person put like favorite sayings that they might associate with that art that they put with the card, and it will be relevant, obviously, to tarot because people are looking up, what does that tarot card mean and what's it about, and giving their interpretation. So things like, for example, the wheel or the world, the limelight. Look around. the wondrous world. What has it already given you, and what is it asking you to do? Know your limits and spot your opportunities. That limelight, her like the Betty Boop, the moon, that werewolf. With empathy and love for all aspects of nature and humanity, perhaps your nighttime fantasies can be fulfilled during the day. Ow! I really like how this deck communicates. I think it's fun. It's as fun as watching an adult cartoon. It kind of gives you that vibe. So we're putting it with the harshness of Mother Nature and her herbology, because you know a good itch might be a bad itch. So be careful. Nicole, let's pull a card for you, because that's all you've got to do is ask if you're joining us live in the chat, whether it's on Odyssey, Astrology and Alchemy, the Paranormal channel, could be on Paranormal Sarah on the Facebook or the Instagram. It could be anywhere. Who knows? Where are you from? Where are you at now? Maybe you're a time traveler. Maybe you're from the past. Nicole, we're going to pull a card for you. 2 cards for you. Oh, look at that. Okay. You know, I really do love flowers. I love nature. I love divination with all things. Things, especially in nature, because they're predictable and measurable, and you can look at them and see their deep meaning in so many cultures. You can check yourself, you can validate, and you can learn as you go. It's kind of like pulling a thread on a sweater. I like connecting them because then you kind of like get the synchronicity, kind of this cool magic. The 10 of Cups. So the 10 is a double high five or a double punch to the face, but it is a resolution. It is a completeness. It is both hands together clasped. It is a mantle. It is a finish line. It is a celebration, and it is a great top of the mountain moment. Now what? It can be very, very great. It can be ominous. It can be scary. It can be a culmination. It is the number 10. It is back to 0 and 1. It's everything and nothing. 10. But this is in cups, in the frequency of water, in the frequency of relationship, in the frequency of emotion, in the frequency of a connectedness to others, your relationships, your attachments. So you can see it's put as a rainbow. Interesting. Over the home. Yes. With people kind of holding hands, in their bees, like a unit, like a hive. And it's green pastures. Doe, a deer, a female deer. And it's like they're kind of happy, and it's cute, and there's a good feeling here. The 10 of Cups is, this is it. We have it. Sometimes, and I can tell you working in therapy, that sometimes can give people that feeling that, oh shit, now I need to be self-destructive because things are too good. Ugh, I'm paranoid. You don't have to do that. Life will turn over on its own. You can just maintain the goodness. You don't have to put a mine out there in a minefield that already exists. You really don't. So you can endure and really enjoy this space. It will start over, and again, you will be at a 10 soon enough. But this is an ending that is a happy one of a family resolution, and it's being coupled with the Trumpet Vine, which I kind of grew up calling them sniffer flowers, I guess maybe honeysuckles. You know, if you grew up watching Thumbelina, hummingbirds really love these. They're very, 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 very colorful. And that's what I love about what the card uses to describe the trumpet vine. It's articulate, it's colorful, and it's verbal expression. It's very active, it's very dynamic. It's projecting itself into a social environment. It's like climbing a vine and feeding the world around it. But because of that, because of its brightness, it can lead to a lack of vitality, that soul force in your expression, right? That light, this little light of mine, it will feel as though you're having the inability to be assertive, to speak clearly. Impediments in your speech, which is interesting because Mercury is in retrograde for just a little bit longer. What does that mean? Mercury, that planet that really initiates communication of mind to thought. You know what I'm thinking of? It's it's like a skip. It's like a record skip. It's somebody picking up the line back in the 90s when you were trying to download something. Huh? Now you have to start all the way over. It's an interruption. And when Mercury's retrograde, you can't see it. Where is it? So you can't see it. And it causes a bit of confusion. You have to repeat. You have the Doppler effect not working the way that it should because you're turned around. And that might feel very exhausting. It's not you. It's the time. Be aware of the time and when to exhaust your efforts so that you don't run out and you don't take things personally because you're very personal and personable. So there you go. All right, guys. Pepper, Nicole, Crystal. It is indeed the full moon, and I have a few more spells to do. I've got some really neat, I know it might be creepy to some of you, but I've got little baby hands. They're actual mouse hands for a helping hand. If you need a helping hand, I've got some cool curiosity spell jars going up. I will be posting them on my Facebook. And if you guys would like a spell jar, you would like a personal reading, maybe you'd like to gift a reading to someone you know, maybe you've just been like in a weird space and you want to expand more and these 2 cards weren't enough, let me know. I'm going to be doing a full moon special. Let's go ahead and do 16. We'll stay with the 3-6 Nikola Tesla kind of a vibe. And if you guys would like one of those, you can either check me out on Venmo, my email, theparanormalsarah@gmail, Venmo @paranormalsarah, or you can do PayPal. PayPal me. It's a /S Soderlund for Sarah Soderlund. But you can also private message me, direct message me here, wherever you found me, at theparanormalsarah@gmail.com is my direct email, and we will get you going. We will get you going. I'm going to send out that full moon reading right now. I'm going to record the special and get it going, and I'm wondering what deities do you think will be attached to this one, huh? What spirit guides, what songs, what influences, what message, what tarot cards, what oracle will I pull? If you'd like to know what further information might come your way, let me know. And don't forget to sign up for notifications. I'll be doing these more and more as the weeks go, and I save up for my continued excursions for summertime and remodeling of the home and all the things. So you guys, thank you so much for your support. I really appreciate it. And I do hope that you will join me tomorrow and the rest of the evening. And if you'd like a reading, let me know. All right, guys, have a good full moon. And until next time.